Hello everyone. So today I thought I would take some time to color this image in with my alcohol ink markers. And I have had Copic markers in the past. I think my daughter now has them. And so I ended up just finding some other alcohol markers that I liked. They were reasonably priced and I'm going to use those today. I've learned a couple different techniques over the years that have helped me color in my images. So we're going to finish a card I started, and this is going to be one of the center point images here. So the markers that I'm using, and this technique will work for any alcohol ink markers that you're using. The most important thing is the nubs and the saturation of them. So I just want to mention the blending tool. It's called a blender, or I'm using all Stampin' Up stuff. And so this actually is a color eraser. The best way to blend is with your alcohol ink markers in general. That's really the best way. Only use this when you're cleaning up the edges. I've even gotten stuff out of the lines into another portion that I didn't mean to. You may even see me do it today. And I just end up going through with the other color and blending it out that way. So I don't think that this is necessarily something that you need right off the bat. You can always, if you have a white ink pen, you can always go around the edges with that if you get out of the lines. But generally, and I'll show you, I'm probably gonna have to show you how to use that today anyway, because I'm probably gonna screw up a lot. So because I'm not always so neat. So I'm just gonna shade her in with you right now, and these are the colors that I'm gonna use for the skin. I went back and forth. I'm going to use a little bit darker hair on her, and so I wanted to use a lighter skin, but not too pale. And I'm actually starting with the dark first, and I'm going in with this dark first, and I do this. You can do a layer down where you do that light first, and then you go back and do the medium and then the dark. I tend to just play with two colors. Part of the reason why I went with this particular brand is because each of these colors come in a pack. So they come in packs of 2, and I know that they'll work, so it can take kind of my brain power out of it, and the price on it was rather economical for me. Of course I sell to myself, so I get a discount, but anyway, that's why I went with this brand. But if you're using Copic and you want to pull in that third, and I could pull in a third color with this with no problem, but for this particular, I usually just do 2. Okay, so a lot of people go ahead and lay their light down first, and then they go back, they add in those other colors to shade, and then they blend on through. And you will get a super smooth blend. I feel if you do that, like, you'll get a better, smoother blend if you lay the lighter color first, then the medium and the dark color over that, and then if you go back and lay down that light color again, it really does give you a beautiful smooth blend. And if I was working on like a masterpiece, then I probably would do that, but this works just fine for what I'm doing, and it doesn't overly saturate the paper, which is really nice. My dog just walked in. You can probably hear him panting back there. Sorry about that. But yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I like to do it this way, where I layer that medium color down first, and then I go back in with a lighter color, is because it doesn't saturate the paper as bad and cause for more bleeding. You also may notice that I have right here a piece of paper under my image, and that is because as I'm coloring, if you haven't noticed, some of it's bled through. So if I were to be coloring on this, this is not a surface that can absorb anything. So guess what that would do? it absorb right back up into my image, which can cause you to look like you're coloring outside of the lines. And that's super frustrating to happen when you are when you're like, I did a good job, why is that outside of the lines? Well, it's because you ended up not having something under your surface to absorb the leak through. All right, so I'm going to go in with the hair, and I'm just kind of going to follow the lines a little bit here. This is the darker, of course, so she's going to be a brunette on this one. And I'm just I'm focusing kind of around, you know, around her lines. If you're not sure where to shade or any of that, just kind of do what the illustrator did. And there are no like hairlines in this per se besides that right there. So I'm just gonna come off here with this dark because, you know, usually the roots are darker, and the more you go down the hair, it lightens up. So I'm gonna kind of stick with that philosophy. Okay, so that is my first layer. That's my dark layer. Now I'm gonna go right back over this with this lighter color, like so, and just blend it on through. I am going over the color I laid down first to get it to blend and move around. If I don't go over that color, then whatever color I don't touch, it doesn't blend, okay? So it is important that you take your lighter color and go over your darker color to really get it to blend through. And if you'll notice right here, it doesn't look like it's really blending that much, right? But the more alcohol ink I add to my paper, the more it'll blend through. So just keep that in mind. That's why I'm saying if you screw up, just go over it with your alcohol marker again and color it through with a lighter color, and it'll eventually lighten up and blend in. It'll blend into that color story, so to speak. So what else was I gonna say? Oh, there's something and I forgot. Gotta love that. All right, so we're doing this down here. And the more it's if you notice that as you're trying to blend something out, because look how much I lost right there, that would have seeped all back into my image and ruined it. So just keep that in mind. And I am moving it around a little bit. If you do notice that you are starting to saturate it as you're trying to blend something through, go back to another area, go to another area to color. This is alcohol, so it's not going to stay wet forever. It really is going to dry out. And so at that point, then you can go back over and blend that on through, and it will dry for you. Okay, it's going to dry for you quite nicely. All right, now right here, if you notice, I spent a lot of time right there, and it did bleed back through. So I'm gonna have a cleanup to do. That's what I'm gonna call in my Stampin' Blend. Now, if it had bled through on her dress or on her arm, right here up on her ear, it even bled out a little bit, and I'm gonna show you how to clean that up. This is really only good, your stamp blender, your eraser, for where you are not going to have any color. It's just going to be white space. All right, so just keep that in mind. And right up here where she bled out, where the ink bled out, she bled out, that sounded morbid, that is not going to have color. So that's why I'm going to have to use that blending tool. So I'm going to go up and do all of my cleanup at the end, including the stuff that's around her face, just because I don't know what else is. Actually, I can do that cleanup right now. So I'm just going to go through here with the fine end and just blend it on through. Now, if I were to go in, I don't want to use the blending tool here. If I were to go in with my blending tool, my blender, my eraser, I'd erase all the color. And I don't want that. I don't want to erase all the color. So that's why I go in with my lighter image, my lighter ink, and I just go over those spots until it's blended. Okay. All right. So let me go on to, I like to do the darkest stuff the first. So whenever I'm doing an image of a person, I like to start with getting their skin tone done, their hair done, and then I go back and I start to color in the rest. So the first thing I'm going to start with here is her little swing. And so for her swing, I am going to use Smoky Slate. And I'm just going to do some dark first. And then I'm going to go in with my light. And I'm putting away my markers after I'm using them, just so I remember where they go. It's funny, I kind of clean as I work. I'm like that in the kitchen too. I clean as I go. Just makes it easier for me. Okay. So again, these techniques can work with any alcohol ink that you have. Okay. It really always comes down to the nub and the flow of your alcohol marker. That's really what it comes down to. The stuff that's in it is pretty much the same across the board. All right, now I want to start to color in her dress and her shoes. So I chose a light color, a pool party for this, and then for this one I'm doing a light flirty flamingo. And for these, oh, I didn't get her arm right there. For these ones, I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be doing much shading on this, any shading actually, because I just don't think it's worth it to me. I mean, you may want to go through the squares and shade them out, but usually if it's super small, I don't. Maybe I'm lazy. I don't know. But the first thing I'm actually going to use this pool party first. And I'm just going to go like every other one. Whoop, and I got that one. Didn't mean to do that. And if you notice, like right there, I didn't move it soon enough. So see all of that color leak? All right, so I have right here, I'm gonna have to work on, I got a little bit out of the line there. That's okay though. I will clean it up. I'm sorry if that sound bothers you. See, I did it again. Actually, I'm just gonna do this one right here. Okay, then I'm gonna make her shoes this color. And I do think I'm gonna go in and put some shading on her shoes. So I laid down that lighter color first. So you can see this technique. This is how they want you to do it. When I was first learning how to do this, this is how all the pros said to do it, was lay down the light, then go in with your dark and your medium. I think it's because, now I could be wrong, so if you're a professional colorist, you know, you can correct me. I think it's so that you'll use up your markers faster, and you'll have to buy replacement ink. That's why I think that they do it. I think that I think that your final product ends up being extremely similar to laying down your lighter color last. Okay, all right. So there we go. All right, so her little shoes are done. Now I'm gonna go in, pop on that pink. And this is that flamingo. And some of my pool party bled right there, but that's okay, because as I color this in, it does away with it. And there we go. Kind of messed up on some of those, but that's okay. You'll know it's really handmade, that's what I say. If you have something screwed up, didn't get it, the person who receives this probably wouldn't even notice, but I do, because I knew what I was going for. All right, so she's done, but I need to go back and clean up. I'm gonna color this up here. I don't know if I'm gonna use the sun, but I can color the sun anyway. I'll set it aside in case I don't use it. I will some other time. So for this one, this is the Dark Daffodil Delight, and I'm just gonna go through like that, and then I'm just gonna go up, not all the way on all the beams, just a little bit. All right, now I'm done with that one. And I'm gonna go in with my light color now. I am not a trained colorist, okay? So if you have someone that you like that is trained and they tell you different, you know, by all means, that's the beauty of this, is you can take what you want to take and leave the rest, right? And then I'll assemble the card with you so you can kind of see where I'm going with this, what my thought process was, and then I'll show you the other card that I made. All right, so it really, at the end of the day, if I got outside the lines, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to use a die cut on this and cut it out, but I do want to show you how this works. So if you do get outside of the lines and you want to clean it up, you're gonna use your finer tip, and you're just gonna push that ink back in. You're just gonna, don't scribble. I'm lifting up between each stroke. I'm pushing it in. It's going, what that does is it lifts the color, it erases the color, and what it doesn't erase, it pushes it back where you want it. All right. So that's wet. That's going to look like that for a minute until it dries. But I just want to show you how this works. All right. So I can just take this. So don't ever use this to blend your colors. Never, never, never. I just want you to use it to erase your colors. Do you see how that's erasing the colors? It's like, this is a color eraser. Blenders are not really blenders. It erases the color. It takes it away. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna do this with you, is I am going to take my die cut and so I'm gonna place this here. Do this right here. I'm gonna take her, line her up. This is pretty even. And I do have some tape that I want to put down for her. Washi tape also works on this. Sometimes the washi tape though can be a little bit sticky and you end up with it sticking to the image, so just be careful with that. I find that this tape, which is, I think I got it from scrapbook.com, it's the mint tape. I find that this tends to be not sticky enough, so so just keep that in mind. Really the best thing to do is take washi tape, tape it on yourself 2 times to get like some lint on it, and then use that. All right, now I'm going to go ahead, run this through. Okay, here we go. And this is my card front that I've already created. This is a die cut that I had by the Stamps of Life. And then I just popped on some apples. I did some layering with the grass here. And I just used my dye ink. It's actually a water-based dye ink that I blended through on the colors on that to give it an apple tree. So let me take off these, and I'm gonna have to go over with my black because I didn't line it up perfect and those are white. So I'm just gonna take a black marker and go over it to give those lines. And then here is my little sun. Okay, and then this is my sentiment. I was thinking about putting the sentiment kind of with the sun. I'm not sure though. I don't know if I'm gonna use that or not. I may save it for another day. All right, I'm just clearing this off a little bit. I need to fix this right here. Sorry for my street noise. I need to fix this right here. And I am going to use, let's see, I'm looking around for something. Let me see. I have some of these graphic, this will work. So I'm just gonna take and go up like that. Go up like that. Now we're all fixed. All right. I always have a boo-boo in everything. It's like a whoops, never fails. I always have a whoops moment whenever I'm creating. My art is usually made up of mistakes. So anyway, all right, now I got to think about how I want her to swing. Do I want her to swing like that, or do I want her more back that way? I'm thinking more back that way. So when I put this down, I actually did not glue it entirely down yet because I knew I needed to get her situated kind of up in the tree. So this is a 5x7 card that I'm working on. And let's see here. There we go. she on this? Yeah, now she's on the card. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this, and this dries clear, thankfully, because we are going to smoosh it out, so make sure that it covers everything. And I'm going to actually, I'm thinking that I want to use pop dots on her. So I went through all of these and I'm left at the edges. Don't ever throw away any of your foam. Always go ahead and just do what I'm doing. Use every last piece, cut it. You spend too much money on this to throw away those extra pieces. All right, so I'm going to add right here, here, right there, and going to add this right down here. Go, and then I think I need a piece up there. Normally I would not encourage you to put your adhesive on like this, but you know, I had to put the swing in and I didn't quite know how that was going to work. All right. Okay, now the big decision is, do I want to do the sun up here with this? I kind of do like that. So the answer is going to be yes. But I'm going to use a little bit of glue on my sun, and then I'm going to use some foam adhesive to put my sentiment on. So I just have to make sure that when I do this, I can put it behind the tree. I just don't want it over the tree because that's not how the sun would fall naturally. All right, and now I want to go ahead again, add this one. So I'm going to take this, do two different pieces here, and that one there, and then this one here. We're going to place this, kind of want that sun to show a little bit, the little center, like that. All right, and that card is done. Let me show you the other one that I did. So the first one that I did was this one right here with her, and I just used, I put a different colors on her dress, used some different hair color on her. And I use actually 3 different die sets on this one, 2 different on this one. This is from a Sending Love. The grass is from a Sending Love die set from Stampin' Up. And this is from a Totes and Notes die set. I love this little fence, the picket fence here. And then this is the tree and the girl are from the Stamps of Life. And then I just did that same grass from the same one. And then just the Stamps of Life. So anyway, I hope that you got something from this and you enjoyed it, and that you learned a little bit more about how to use alcohol markers, and you know, kind of an easier way, maybe. All right, if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me what is one technique or tip you learned or want to share. And if you know anyone that would benefit from this, if you could share it, that would be awesome. Until next time, I'm Betsy Golden. Happy crafting.